Welcome back, all you spooky people out there, and prepare yourselves. Whether it's etheric entities that are able to manifest when it suits them best to wreak havoc, or a creature that we don't yet have the means to destroy and who strongly detests every and all forms of life, these creatures are certainly not for the faint of heart. Buckle in, spooky friends, we are going on a trip as we dive into the top 5 terrifying SCPs that are currently on the loose. Starting off this list, in our number 5 spot, we have SCP-1128. This SCP is a bit different than some of the other ones today, and that is because it is more of an etheric entity. This creature has the ability to manifest itself as an enormous aquatic predator, but only to those who have been given a full description of its appearance, so I'll try to refrain from doing that today. People who have been infected by the creature won't really show any symptoms or abnormal behavior, but it is possible that they might show extreme aversion to going into water. If an infected person enters the water and is fully submerged, no matter the depth, they will completely disappear underneath the surface of the water. Most of the time they will reappear a few moments later in a state of total panic, frantically trying to get out of the water, but other times instead of reappearing above the water, you'll instead see blood and debris cloud it, with the debris later being able to be confirmed as the vanished person. The lucky ones who have survived have explained that while they had vanished, they were transported to the vast ocean where they were actively being pursued by SCP-1128. This is all absolutely frightening and is the reason behind why any descriptions of the SCP are treated with the utmost importance, and it is highly classified information. Any videos or descriptions or imagery are meant to be destroyed immediately, and only written descriptions are allowed, but they are kept at a specific site for experiment testing and not meant for just anyone. Some of the high-level personnel who have seen these descriptions of SCP-1128 have found themselves being pulled into a glass of water, which makes it abundantly clear that no matter who or where you are, it will find you and it will do its best to complete its mission. I don't know about you guys, but I don't ever want to encounter SCP-1128. Moving on to number 4, we have SCP-1000. This is an SCP that is currently on the loose, and if anyone ever reports any sightings or contact with this SCP, MTF Zeta 1000 will always need to be sent to not only verify the claims, but also to investigate. Even if it seems unlikely or trivial, every report is considered quite serious and will be looked into. That is because this SCP can be extremely dangerous. SCP-1000 is a nocturnal creature that has quite a few human characteristics. In fact, this SCP evolved alongside the Homo sapiens species. Adults of SCP-1000 grow to be somewhere from 5 to 10 feet tall and weigh somewhere from 200 to 600 pounds. They have more primitive human features, like a more pronounced brow bone and that sort of thing, and it is said that their intelligence is comparable to that of a common chimpanzee. Like I mentioned before, this SCP evolved alongside humans, and their numbers were actually quite vast until about 10,000 years ago. This is when there was a large extinction event that wiped out most of the population except for an estimated 1 to 5%. This extinction event of course proved to be horrific, and in the end it triggered a quote pseudo-disease classified as SCP-1000-F1, but unfortunately this disease is passed on, which means that every SCP-1000 that exists now likely is infected. Here's where things get really scary. Basically, this disease is so bad that any hominid that either directly or even indirectly observes SCP-1000 that is infected has a chance that they will die instantaneously through this disease. Brain function will simply just end. The longer the contact, the more likely it is that this grim fate will be met. What the Foundation is most worried about right now is that since SCP-1000 is so closely related to humans, that it is possible that the disease could be transferred and humans could one day become carriers, which would prove to be lethal to the majority of our population. This is all to say that not only can the Foundation not even fully examine SCP-1000, but that no one should ever even try. In our number 3 spot today, we have SCP-169. SCP-169 is a bit of an enigma because it is said that it cannot and will never be contained. There is no structure on Earth large or strong enough to hold SCP-169, and while the exact location of it currently is unknown, satellite images suggest that it is located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. SCP-169 is said to be a marine arthropod of massive size, and if you've ever heard the tales of the Leviathan, you might have an idea of how massive this creature really is, but think even bigger. At first it was presumed that the tales were just myths, but during investigations of supposed paranormal activity, its existence became feared. There currently aren't any other known specimens of SCP-169, and that truly is for the best because I don't even know if the world could handle another one. The creature is estimated to have a body length of somewhere from 2,000 to 8,000 kilometers, and it is thought to have existed since the pre-Cambrian era. As far as we know, this single specimen is the only one of its kind, and next to nothing is known about its lifestyle. The creature moves quite slowly at a pace of less than 1 kilometer per week, but it is currently believed that it is just adrift. In the area that is believed to be the current location of the creature, there has been regular seismic tremors detected, and this is thought to be indicative of SCP-169's breathing. These tremors cause minor shifts in the island's terrain, so it is believed that the creature is currently dormant. Right now, the location where the Foundation thinks the SCP is off limits to humans. The public excuse being used is because there is a high number of endangered bird species in the area, but that is just a coincidence, and it really is restricted because of this enormous creature. Unfortunately, this SCP is quite loud. I mean, of course it is, it's massive, and because of this there have been recordings of it released by scientists and civilians to the Foundation's dismay. The Foundation has engaged in cover-ups so as to not shock the public with news of this SCP, and now the Foundation is very wary of any and all scientific or civilian teams who try to capture the sound because they will enact protocol to stop them. In our number 2 spot today, we have SCP-1440. SCP-1440 is currently uncontained and has been on the loose since its last containment breach. Since the breach, this SCP's location is completely unknown, and at the moment, the Foundation really doesn't have the means to contain it, even if they did know where to find it. This SCP appears as a man of unknown ethnicity and age, and if asked about any of these types of things, it will definitely refuse to answer. The Foundation is unsure of if this is because it just doesn't know the answer, or if it is just unwilling to share any information about itself. Either way, you should definitely never be in a position where you are asking SCP-1440 about itself because things could quickly go awry. This SCP appears to be a man in or around his 80s, but the peculiar thing with this is that there have been no signs of aging with this SCP in the 50 years since its first discovery. While this is all fine, things start to get really dicey, and this SCP shows its true colors when it comes into contact with any man-made object or with the human population, and it stays in contact for longer than a couple of days. This is because any extended exposure to humanity-made objects or people creates this adverse reaction from the SCP. It will suddenly turn and simply will not rest until it destroys that item or person. If it has any trouble, like if the person were to try and get away, the SCP will stop at nothing and will destroy anything that gets in the way until it has officially taken out its target. The only exceptions to this rule are the SCP itself and the items that belong to him, like his clothes and a small glass cup he carries. SCP-1440 in all of his terrifying glory is a self-aware SCP. He knows he has these extremely violent tendencies, so he does try to refrain from coming into contact with the human population, but despite his best efforts, he will inevitably run into people and their things. SCP-1440 travels in quite an odd and complex pattern, which means that attempts to track him have been highly unsuccessful, so his current whereabouts are unknown at this time. Right now it is thought that SCP-1440 can't be destroyed, either because of the fact that, upon his initial discovery, when brought in for questioning, he went on to destroy the entire site as well as caused the deaths of a redacted amount of personnel and 6 other SCPs. Any other containment attempts have resulted in similar results. In our number 1 spot today, we have SCP-682. This is an SCP that at this point in time there are no available means of destroying, despite the Foundation's desire to. If we ever find the technology that allows for the destruction of this SCP, they will most definitely go ahead with that, because SCP-682 is far too strong, way too powerful, and just too dangerous. This SCP appears as a large sort of reptilian type creature with an unknown origin, but it also also has quite the hatred for all life. SCP-682 is highly intelligent and capable of complex communication, and this hatred for life, coupled with its smarts, is really quite a deadly combination. SCP-682 consumes as well as sheds material, which means that its size does change from time to time, of course growing larger with consumption and smaller with the shedding. Despite its size, however, it always exhibits high strength, speed, and reflexes, which makes it quite a strong opponent. It appears as though this SCP gets its energy through consuming different materials, whether organic materials or otherwise, and another frightening thing about it is that even when it is struggling or partially destroyed or has great damage, it is still exceptionally resilient. It was once observed with 87% of its body damaged, but it was still able to fight and in the end escape and regenerate. The Foundation continually tries its best to find and recapture SCP-682, but it always finds a way to escape each time, with close to 20 attempted escapes and 6 successful ones so far, but those numbers only grow each time it faces capture. When this SCP is captured, it needs to be held in a 5 by 5 by 5 meter chamber with 25 centimeter reinforced acid-resistant steel plate lining the entire inside. This is because the chamber needs to be filled with hydrochloric acid that the SCP is then submerged in, and any attempts to even move or speak or anything by the SCP needs to be responded to with full force until they find a way to destroy it once and for all. Alright guys, that has been our scary list for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you all again soon. Bye!